Good hellos, everybody, and welcome to StatCheck episode 109, 3-inch Deepstrike. It's more likely than you'd think. I hope everybody is having a wonderful time, whether you're at an event this weekend, whether you were chilling out, whether you're waiting for the Blood Angels Codex and hopefully the Minotaur Field Manual. We're all there with you, having a wonderful time. I'm Ennis. I'm joined by a full house, a full roster today of Jeremy, Anthony, and Nathan. And we're going to start at the top. Jeremy, kick us off. How you doing? You were at an event this weekend.
I was at the Western Canadian Team Championship with a few friends of mine out in Saskatoon. It is a real place. I now have Dan from the Red Dragon to confirm that it is a real place. He has been there. He has worn Innis Scotland jerseys there. There are photos of him, so it is real. Yeah, we were defending our title, the A team, A team. And I dragged Dan Morris from the Red Dragon out as our fourth for the team because it was four-man teams, which is always a wild dynamic. Yeah, our team crushed it 5-0 and secured some golden tickets. And by some golden tickets, I mean one for the one of the four of us that didn't already have one.
Yay.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. The boys out west really know how to put on an amazing event. I always have a lot of fun out there, and I highly recommend that if you are anywhere in the Midwest to West and like Dakotas, Montana, Minnesota area, to head on up to any events that are put on by the Saskatoon boys, because they do run really good events. We had one team who came down from Montana. We played them in the final round. They were a ton of fun. They were like, we drove 10 hours. We're not sure if it's going to be a good event, but we really hope it is. And they had a blast. They also got, railed by us in the last round.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing well. I am, as people may notice, not in Tampa this week because I was supposed to be there right now. And, well, it seems like the world might end for some of our Floridan friends.
Yeah, if you're in Florida, please remember to stay safe. Best of luck to all of
Definitely
you.
sending good vibes to everyone down there. And please, if you're under an evacuation order, follow it. This is going to be a serious storm.
Listen to the science people. I know you're in Florida, so that's challenging, but do your best.
If they're listening to us, though, they probably listen to the science people.
I would hope so.
That's no bet, but perhaps.
I'll give our viewers the benefit of the doubt there.
That's fair.
Nathan, what have you been up to?
I played some 40K. I also got my Tampa Bay weekend canceled, although I wasn't going to be there till Thursday morning.
Well, that would have been an interesting flight.
Yeah, that would have definitely been very interesting coming in post-hurricane, or post-major part of the hurricane, I suppose.
Mid-hurricane.
Mid-hurricane, right following the eye of the storm right in, some gutsy Spirit Airlines pilots. I don't know. No, I played my Vibe Check League game against Josie. We were playing World Leaders in the mirror. I had Anthony's list, and then Josie had 110 jackals. That list was full of bullshit, is what really happened.
So you didn't overthink yourself and slammed into them and killed them all and then won, right?
I lost, but what happened was real funny instead. It was because I tried to kill everything, and some things failed to kill things, and then I lost. Yes. This is what happens when you don't play 40K for a little bit, and then you're like, I'll play 40K, and then you play against somebody who just recently played a fuck ton of 40K with a list, is that some nonsense happens. But really what happened is I had a turn where I needed two things to happen, which was I needed 2 Chaos Spawn to kill 2 Jackals on an objective.
I needed... That's not even close.
two spawns to kill 2 Jackals, and then I needed Angron to not die to a Lord of Skulls.
Also
and
no.
to kill it.
Yeah.
And then the 2 things that happened was Angron took 14 or 15 damage from the Lord of Skulls and did like 2 damage to it, basically. And then the Chaos Spawn failed to kill any Jackals. And then one of them died. And then that's what happened. Otherwise, it was a close game. It was a good game. Angron did resurrect on the last turn and scored me a secret mission. And jammed the score way higher than it should have been.
What a chat.
Why not?
Normal Angron stuff, dude.
And then, my Lord Invocatus surviving Angron on the charge also happened during that game. Just things.
That shouldn't
Invo,
happen.
Invo made 5 out of 6 invulnerable saves, and then made
I
the necessary number of feel no pains to not die. Only to be nearly killed by my Angron exploding because the Corn Lord of Skulls managed to kill him later. When
Wait, Corn Lord of Skulls?
Josie's Corn Lord of Skulls.
I
I
didn't
think
know.
you're just going for the like Angron factory of I get
Yep.
8 rerolls and +1 to the rolls.
Yeah,
in
I
a
really
flip.
Yeah.
Yep. It was so many flips. She was just like, yeah, so I'm just gonna roll dice until I get Angron back. I was like, I guess I just won't kill Angron then. I'll just leave him over there on 6 wounds. He'll do stuff, whatever.
Hilarious. That reminds me of my
Um,
final game at the event. I was playing into World Eaters, and my opponent realized what happens when you know how to play around fight first. That is, the MOE squad dies horribly. But more amusingly was Karn getting charged by 2 units of JPI and inner circle and the rest of the inner circle companion squad that hadn't killed the MOE, living on 2 wounds, and then just standing there for 2 fight phases, going, "What are you gonna do?" And killing
That's my
5 inner
boy.
circle companions in the interim.
Good.
There's a great reminder in chat actually, because Karn and Angron fought on the last turn. And Karn died, fought on death, and then killed Angron.
Yeah.
Scoring me assassinate on the last turn.
Yeah.
It was definitely a game where a lot of things were happening and none of it made sense, and the dice were just going bananas in every direction. So there were whole moments where I was just like, that's definitely not how dice are supposed to work, and then just wept silently. But the game was blessed.
Definitely not.
Get World 8. Fool.
So I know. I'm very sad that I have to go into the 0-1 bracket where there are people who will kill me horrifically.
It's
like
dangerous
Jeremy.
in there. Yeah.
It's a dangerous 0-1 bracket in the Vibe Check League. Otherwise, I've been painting my World Eaters because I've been decided to play the World Eaters for this. And it made me switch my sister's color scheme to red, so I'm going back over and bloody rosing up the sisters right now instead of painting them off white.
Oh, my sisters are red.
Nice. Can just be paired, just right next to each other.
Yeah.
Mine will never be done though.
Hmm.
Despite the fact that 3 exorcists arrived for me to assemble and paint.
They're not good, so they won't get nerfed. But
Not good, right?
actively bad, some might say.
Yep. But yes. Otherwise, it's been great. I assembled another Gundam over the weekend. We had a wedding over the weekend too, so we went to do that. And it was like fantasy semi-formal theme, so I basically dressed up like a tweed professor hobbit guy. It was fun. It was a great weekend.
Oh yeah.
How about you, Anthony? How was your weekend?
What did I do last weekend? I actually have no idea.
Did you play 40K?
I mean, I've played a lot. I've played 8 games of 40K in the last week. I've been helping the local contingent get ready for BFS, so which is this weekend. So I've been doing a lot of monitoring, is how I think I'd put it. I didn't really do anything super interesting. I've played 6 games of Hypercrypt and 2 games of fucking Death Guard though, which bet no one had that on their fucking bingo card.
Those were very low on my betting odds. Actually, I never think I ever would have predicted I'd ever see you saying I'm playing Hypercrypt as a thing that I was going to expect to be coming out.
Yeah, I mean, Hypercrypt's weird, right? It's fun. I think people just assume because it can play a long game, you have to play a long game, and that's it's not what it is. So yeah, I think they're very interesting. I've been playing them with a little bit more, to everyone's great shock, I'm sure, a little more go-getter. So
really?
That's broadly gone well. I took the classic. What I've been playing is something I posted in the Stat Check Discord the other day, which is I cut from Kit's list from Champs. I got rid of one of the monoliths and both DDAs and put in 2 Catan and Cesaris. And that's been or 2 Catan and Caesar, or 2 Catan. I put in some amount of stuff. I've been back and forth on like what's staying, what's going type of deal. But yeah, it's been pretty nonsensical. It's been pretty fun. The res protocols mechanic is bullshit. I keep forgetting to res dudes because like the death marks, like the tomb blades will take damage, and I'll like heal the one that got hurt back to full, and then my opponent will be like, yeah, you have an extra one of those, and I was like, oh yeah, and I like put them back together. So that's been kind of funny. Yeah, nothing else too crazy. Just been playing a lot of random games. Try to hope people get ready for that fairly large event.
Nice.
It feels like it should be illegal for you to play something besides World Eaters when you're not being paid for it at this point.
Yeah, I know,
Like,
right? Fuck.
I'm upset with you that you've abandoned them before a data slate.
I know. I'm just bored, dude. And by
Really,
bored,
did it
I
take
mean,
a full year?
I mean, I'm not even. The fucked up thing is that I'm not like actually bored of them. That's like the bit. I would gladly just like play this index for the rest of the edition. If they could just not give me a codex, that would be totally fine. But, you know, so long as it remains to be like an asset in teams that the teams I'm playing on don't have one, and they have a me, that adds a lot of army flexibility for other people to play what they want. So it's really been very beneficial on that front. So, yeah. I don't know. It's not too bad. I am looking forward to playing Blood Angels. I am not super looking forward to playing Deceptors. Though, let the record reflect that I offered the person that paid the bounty to play something else after Deceptors won a GT. I was like, listen, they've won an event now, and it's not as bad as we thought it was. Do you want me to play, like, Fellhammer or Dread Talons or not Deceptors? And he said to play Deceptors, so...
He knows what he's about.
Yeah. So write that down, haters.
He wants you to be constantly battle shocked by the idea of Deceptors.
Yeah, no, it's every time I have to say Deceptors out loud, I'm like, that's surely not the fucking detachment name, and we just like are calling it the wrong thing. Nah, bro, that shit is like the bad guys in Transformers. Like you open that shit and it's right there waiting for you. Bad detachment rule and all.
Our army name is Lying People.
Yeah, it's like, okay, dude. Subterfuge. I will say, I'm going to get to Detonator or something in 3 weeks, and I'm going to laugh my ass off the whole time.
Sounds about right.
I hope you get to detonate a bunch of stuff just because it's fun.
I
Like,
want
it's
to be
ridiculous.
able to do that.
Just do
I
it.
don't think I'll be able to do that, but I like to believe that there's a lot of detonation in my future.
I
But
want
we'll
you
see.
to detonate a Silent King so bad.
Nothing would make me happier. I just don't know that, like, Deceptors have great tools for getting rid of the Silent King. So we'll do it again.
Vindicators.
Actually, unironically, the Deceptor's shooting stratagem is nuts against the Silent King, because once the Menhirs are down, you have full roll to hit and wound against that fucker.
Oh.
So, yeah, fuck you, below half strength looking bitch. Come here, big boy. Introduce you to this Forge Fiend.
Glorious. Sounds
He's
like
also
a great
taking
time.
fucking battle shock tests every turn.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Nerd.
his leadership 4. Great.
He's 5. He's 5.
Isn't he
Does he not
6
have
with
an
plus
aura
1?
of +1
Yeah,
leadership?
he's 6 with +1.
I think I played him against him in Inspired Leadership recently.
Oh,
He's
that's
not
fucking
really
funny.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's limited to 5, though, isn't it?
No, because it's +1 to
Because
the
it's +1
test,
to the
not...
test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's how NIDS can make you take battle shocks on like 11s or whatever if they stack all the shit on you.
No, I've experienced that. It is not fun.
Yeah.
It's great fun, actually.
All
Especially
right,
when I get
Dennis,
the
what
grenades
you been
really
up to
fast.
then?
I went to a GT this weekend because I apparently don't sleep. Which is, yeah, so I took Iron Storm to a GT because I decided that one invitational wasn't going to be enough for the Iron Storm video. So I was like, all right, I'll just cram an extra GT on top, and now I've got 7 games of Iron Storm to talk about, and I can do an Iron Storm video, and that'll be fun. So I took a Storm Raven, and I played Black Templars, and I shot people a bunch, and it was great fun. And I got to use the shootback stratagem, and I killed a Caladius and a Lehman Russ.
God damn
You
it.
killed 2-up save things with the shootback strat? Jesus.
When it's on a Vindicator or a Lancer, sure do.
My favorite thing about the Vindicator, right? Because I've been playing with them a fucking ton lately, is that like everyone's always like, oh, it's so random or whatever. It's like, yeah. But the shot count isn't that random, and you're probably wounding, and your AP's pretty good, so they're not doing a ton of saving. So you
It's
just
the
need
D6
to...
damage that tends to hurt.
But like, like pretty pretty reasonable to expect 3 through on a vehicle, right? And at that point, that vehicle's in fucking danger. So, like, I don't know. It's not actually that random in
I went
my
down,
experience.
I went down to 2 wounds against the Lehman Russ, and then went, might as well. 9 shots on 4s, 7 hits, 6
Yeah.
wounds.
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
Failed 4 saves, dead.
Damn.
Yeah, bye.
Sorry,
It's-
you didn't want that, did you?
Dude, it's fucking
Nothing
tragic.
funnier than a guard player losing a tank in their turn.
Oh, God.
It's the best. I reckon you could set up a pretty decent fire cascade if you killed the tank commander as well.
He shoots back, kills a different thing.
Oh. This reminds me of the reactive move triggering reactive moves interaction.
You've
God, I
seen
hate
the
that.
fight cascade. Now get ready for the fire cascade.
No. No
Um,
rules for
so
gun
yeah.
armies.
that was good fun. I got to play. So I got to play 4 games of that. I ended up bringing already the first game, or taking to buy the first game, which was nice to get a lion. I didn't get a lion. I was at the venue on time to be up, make sure I was up early and not sleeping, of course, because you can't do that at tournaments. And then drove a storm moving about, making vroom vroom noises. It was fantastic fun. Very very nice. It was really nice to get back to my good old ways of being done in an hour and 15 minutes in the round, being like,
God damn it, Dennis.
Yeah.
chill.
It's going to be
So.
super weird to play singles again.
It's I can't say anything because I play singles and teams about evenly, so it's not too bad for me. But
Where I'm at right
it's a
now.
very different experience. So yeah, that was mine. I am out in Poland in 11 days for another team event.
Fuck yeah.
We've got a all killers no fillers team for that one, which will be good fun. The Poles, the Roberts brothers, and myself, David Gaylord, and Brian Sipe. So we're gonna go.
Just an okay team. Just an
it's
okay
fine.
team. Perfectly reasonable.
I
Nothing.
think that as long as Brian is playing Blood Angels, it is worse than if Brian was playing Orcs.
I think
So-
that's absolutely true as well. But Brian really doesn't want to have to take a second army to Poland with him. So
Look, I get it, but Brian
I think it's a
built
bit
different
fake
on
because
them
he's
green
making me
boys.
play an army that I don't want to play because I don't get to play Marines because he's playing them.
See, you
playing
should just
GSC
yell at
then?
him a whole bunch. Brian always responds really
I think
well
I'm
to
probably playing GSC, yeah. But I might YOLO and play something else. Depends if the slate's out in time, right?
that. Oh, dude, this is gonna be great. You're gonna love this. So I was talking to Steven, Mr. Corrales, a little earlier. I was talking to him about Champs Cup, and
Ooh.
apparently Kyle Perry, who was the Grey Knight player on Purple Cobras that we played against, was fucking pulling at the walls trying to tell them that he should just play GSC. He was trying to play out literally the thing you played, and they were like, "Nah, bro," because Kyle always plays some like weird shit. They were like, "Nah, bro, that's some weird shit.
Oh,
We're
no.
not doing it." And they got to the event, and he was like, "I fucking told you." So shout out to Kyle for getting absolutely scammed.
Yeah, and then he played Typhus and Typhus shot him to bits with Exorcists, which is even.
It probably would have been shot to bits with GSC as well with that list. So
I mean, he would have gotten shot, but he'd have got to play the game a bit, you know?
I played against Triple Exorcist at LGT. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, see?
I just trapped him in his deployment zone and scored primary on my dead body scored primary. That was mostly the.
Yeah.
So, something very amusing, and I'm just going to put this out on the podcast now because it's been extremely hilarious. One of my local group chats has a habit for chaos. It's currently known as the Kangaroo Court Does Blunderdome, and you're invited. Because someone decided to open their mouth and make a couple bets about people donating to our local food bank. We have the Toronto Fall Open coming up in a couple weeks, a few hours away from here, and some people are heading out to that. And it's going to be a bit chaotic, because they've said that if the MFM comes out next Thursday, which I think most people are expecting it will, because that's when the Blood Angels update should hit,
That makes
then
sense.
that's the rules lock, and lists are due that night.
Oh,
Even Innes is just like, oh no.
That's, by the way, what we're doing for Poland too.
Fuck yeah. So this individual decided that it would be funny to be like, hey, $200 to the local food bank, and you guys can choose my army from this list.
wow, that's such a small number. What a fool.
Yeah, because then Dan immediately said, well, joke's on you. I donate $500 to the local food bank every month.
Ah.
However, this got a little out of hand because Rickard, who you all know from the Discord, is a lovely human being and loves putting bets together and loves taking people up on, making them put their money where their mouth is, usually on our MFM bets in the StatCheck Discord. And so he put together a tier list of things that we as a like group chat will do if we're able to raise a certain amount of money.
Okay.
And so I'm just going to read real quick what the current list is, because it is breaking my soul, but at the same time exceptionally hilarious. Because I got roped into this without saying yes, and I don't care. I'm going to do it because I came up with the one Cabal Point Thousand Suns list. Because you can't go 0, because demon allies can't be your warlord. So you have to take at least the Zangor Shaman. And it's a Zangor Shaman, 30 cultist, 18 enlightened, 3 predator destructors, 3 forge fiends, and 3 vindicators. So
No
it's
mutilas.
gun the list, but none of your army. Yeah, no mutilas.
Brian's WTC list.
No, there's no mutilas.
Oh no.
So
no.
you do not have an army rule.
Why would you need one?
Yeah, but so the list that is currently there, and by the way, I think we just broke 2,300 raised. So at $1,000, Rickard had to bring a 4-model army to an RTT, which was going to be Canis, 2 Porphyrions, and an Imperial Agent. 1250, one of our friends had to run the Hot Mess Express, which is 3 Rampagers and 6 Carnivores, and the upcoming RTT.
God, that list is Chad.
At 1500, Rickard was going to have to bring the Orion dropship to an RTT with the community writing his list for him.
Isn't that just like what Rickard plays anyway, though?
No, he tries to play somewhat seriously. He's actually never put the Orion on a table in an event because of how bad it is.
Oh, is it that bad? I have no idea what that thing does.
It's 700
It's real
points
bad.
of
Dude, he'll
hot
get to play with
garbage.
towering. It's an airplane.
Doesn't really have the guns you think. The Ares would
You're
actually
not
do
wrong.
better.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
At
The
1750,
Orion's the transport one.
At 1750, our local Phil has to bring an AdMech list that I write, which is a dangerous thing to do.
Flap them wings, big boy.
Our friend Ryan is then contractually obliged to actually show up at an event just to say hello, because he's been hiding under a rock with work lately. At $2,000, our friend Alice has to bring a towering heavy construct to an RTT from Necrons, which actually I don't think is that bad.
That's a pretty limited scope, isn't it?
Oh no, you have to play a monolith.
No,
Just
no,
Galactic.
not
Oh, the
the
ceramic
monolith.
specifically.
Like
Okay.
the one of those constructs. I'm also then obligated to run the 1 Cabal Point T-Suns list at an event.
Oh.
We're restricting all these to local RTTs because we don't want to fuck with anyone too badly. However,
Cowards.
at 2,500, Nick can choose a local singles event at any time that Dan is to make a list for him. Also, our friend Zach will then run a Townar at an RTT.
Yeah.
And this is where things got really silly. Is at 2750, our local Nick, who is a lovely human being, I love this man
Trash can?
greatly. Trash Panda, or Trash Can Nick. He's the one that created all this dust. He's the one responsible for us having a lot of really amazing events.
Yeah, he's the best.
At 2750, Nick will let someone pick an army for him to bring to WCW. The restriction is that we need to hit this by basically the end of October. And if we hit that, yeah, I know. We're just like, for starters, there's about 30 people in this group chat. So I just said, if we each pitch $60, we already hit it.
I mean, Dan's just going to accelerate next month's food bank payment to the start of this month or the end of this month. And it'll
Well,
be
we
done
also
already,
agreed
so-
that matching donations from employers count.
Oh. Oops.
Yeah. And so that one is completely open. It needs to be a competitive list, and we need to have the models for him. So we're not going to like force him to go buy an Imperial Agents army. But it may not be an army that he particularly enjoys playing. And then at 3,000, Rickard has agreed to grab a drum and busk by the store corner for an afternoon, basically. Also, our friend Alice will get a Necron tattoo, but I think she was already planning on doing that anyways.
I
Okay.
think you should make Rickard play the Derek Apshi Chaos Cults list. Just 120
Oh, no,
guardsmen,
that's-
guardsmen, and master curse cultists. It's a competitive list. It's one a super major, and you got to play 8 games with that shit.
Yeah.
As somebody who's not played it before.
And someone decided to add, just about a few minutes ago, the best stretch goal, which is at $4,000 raised for local food bank or blood bank or whatever you want to donate to. Dan will build, paint, and play Sprucrons or Sprute at an event.
Damn.
And if anyone knows Dan's artistic hobbies, he's actually really good at painting, so it would be very fun to see what he does with that army. So that is the madness that my local group chat has been up to lately, and it is a lovely amount of chaotic good.
God.
Best
Also, for
kind
anyone's context, it's Thanksgiving up here in Canada next week. That's the main reason that the food bank is where our focus is at.
See, I was gonna offer Alice like a lifeline because she's supposed to be, you know, Canadian violence, right?
Yeah.
And be like, oh, well, but if she was gonna get the tattoo anyway, then I'm not gonna do this because it sounds like she just wants an excuse to get a tattoo. So never mind. But what I almost did was say, just make it double or nothing for that specific thing, where like they have to double the amount, and if it doesn't get reached, she doesn't have to get anything. But if it does get reached, I'll get it with her. But, you know, never mind, because she's just looking for an excuse to get a tattoo, so I'm taking that back. That is not a real thing. Do not do this expecting this to happen. Chat.
I've got one for you then. Nick is deciding to go for the ultimate stretch goal and said if we raise $50,000, he'll get the Warhammer logo as a tramp stamp.
Oh, Christ on a bike. That I'm not matching.
That's why it's 50. That's why
I don't
it's
think that we will ever hit
50,000.
that. Like, that is charity hammer levels of fundraising. So, and we're talking like just a little like 30-person group. But I had to talk about it on the podcast because this is going to be very funny because now I've probably cursed all of us to having to follow through on these
Is it
commitments.
50,000 Canadian? Was that like
That's true. It's like,
was that
you
like
know.
70 US?
$200 for Anthony to get the Aquilon on the tattoo.
God, Aquilons are a topic for this show. Don't worry, we will be talking about.
I don't know,
worry.
Jeremy. I get my tattoo for our tattoo bet in 2 weeks.
Hell yeah.
Stupid.
All right. Shall we talk stats before we talk about
Yeah.
Do the stats.
meta
Let's talk
stuff?
the stats. Then we'll do plugs. Then we're
Alright.
going to talk about
So-
goddamn Aquilon's investment.
All right, so I'm going to talk about. Did you guys talk about stats last week, or should I cover those
Yes,
as well?
I was on and I covered the last
Yeah, we
couple
got it
weeks.
last week.
All right, then I'm just going to talk about this week's stats, and then I'm going to show you some pretty pictures of some win rate trends, and
I love
then
pretty pictures. It's my favorite part of math.
they're not that pretty. I'm sorry,
Oh,
I shouldn't
they're
have.
fine.
I shouldn't have. I
What?
shouldn't have overpromised.
What the fuck?
All right. The best performing faction for the weekend by win rate. Who do you think it is?
I just looked. I hadn't actually looked until now. That's
Not
terrifying.
except Jeremy.
Agents.
Nope.
No, they're second from the bottom.
They are.
GSC.
No. It
Drukhari.
is.
What did
None of
Amos
those.
play? Marines.
It is Adeptus Mechanicus. So Adeptus Mechanicus with 13 players.
Oh, okay.
That's still countable. They had a 64.7% win rate. They won 2 events. They top forward 3 times. They got 5 top 10s for an over rep of 2.98. Apparently
Oops.
Adeptus Mechanicus might be okay. Who knew?
Oh, we're in the any given Sunday meta. I see. Just
Yep.
fucking who took the good, what good player decided this week was pet project week?
Who did play that? I'm gonna go check that now.
And then the second place is Astra Militarum. 46 players, 59.7% win rate, 2 event wins, 6 top 4s, 13 top 10s, and a 1.68. And then in third is Sisters, 23 players, half the players of Astra Militarum, funny. 57.4% win rate, no event wins this weekend, 2 top 4s, 5 top 10s, and a 1.12. Eldari in fourth place, 23 players as well, 55.2% win rate, 3 top 4s, 7 top 10s, and a 1.68. And then rounding out the top 5 is Space Wolves, 23 players, 54.6% win rate, 1 event win, 4 top 4s, 7 top 10s, and a 2.24 for over rep. And then
Absolutely.
World Leaders just barely not making it with a 53.1% win rate, but 2 top 4s and 6 top 10s.
Respect.
At the very-
Ooh.
At the very bottom, it's not Imperial Agents, because Jeremy said it's not Imperial Agents. Who do you think is the worst performing faction from the weekend?
Drukhari.
No,
No, they were number 9.
they were.
That's not so bad.
51% win
Anthony?
rate, but no top 4s.
Fuck, dude. I don't know. The worst army in the game this week.
Was not orcs, Brian.
Death
It
Guard.
was not Orcs.
Pure
It was
Space
not Death
Marines.
Guard or Pure Space Marines. It was Chaos Space Marines.
What?
With the
You know what this is? This is everyone
21
taking
players.
Liam's list and thinking they
Guys,
can win
Liam
with
just
it.
showed you what to do. Please, just fucking copy him.
It's 21 players, 40.7% win rate, 1 top 4, 4 top 10s, and a 0.6 for overrep. They did worse than Imperial Agents did in win rate.
I really wish I had like a better answer for this, because like normally like when an army is like pretty good and like not great, you know, but it's like got a bunch of success, you could be like, oh, it's hard to play. But CSM is such a like kill the bad guys army that I don't like understand where it's like going wrong for people. They have a bunch of like fast shit that plays the mission well. They have sticky objectives, so you have like a really like straightforward like I'm gonna hold the home field with the cheap bad unit that makes it sticky.
So looking at the sub factions, Renegade Raiders is doing perfectly fine. They have like a 46% win rate, and they make up most of the players.
It's so low.
I know. But I want to highlight that there were 3 players who played Veterans of the Long War this weekend, and they went a combined 5, 13, and 1.
Holy dicks, that is bad. 5? The not like Cinco?
Yes.
Oh
5.
Lord, boys.
We're definitely rubbing wins together to create a third, that army or that faction. Good job, guys.
You guys are not sparking joy, guys.
That is.
All right.
I just want to shout out my boys. Gladius Dark Angels managed a perfect 50% win rate with 82 wins, 82 losses, and 4 draws.
That makes me upset. That makes me angry.
I know.
Yeah.
That army is way better than that.
So Imperial Agents still don't count.
Shout out Ryan, one of the new Team Scotland captain who did play Imperial Agents 3-1-1 at the weekend, including a win against Gladius Dark Angels.
I think that makes him all of the wins for Imperial Agents this weekend.
You put the Malleus detachment and went 3-1-1. So
that is most of the wins. It's 3 of the 11 wins. It's a good quarter of the wins. So yeah, Imperial Agents are second from the bottom. That's probably where they're just always going to be. I'm going to be totally honest. They're just never going to be adopted. Orcs are the second from the bottom if you count factions with an actual appreciable player rate. With 28 players, a 41.2% win rate. Did you get 2 top 4s and 3 top 10s for a 0.92 for overrep?
You want to guess what the top 2, like by play rate, the top 2 detachments for Orcs are right now for this past weekend?
Big Hunt Speed War, because you're asking.
Warhorde and Dreadmob.
Oh,
Warhorde makes sense.
Dude, Dreadmob is pretty good.
It's completely okay.
I legit think that army is pretty good. I'm still like wildly not over the CSM situation. I need to talk about that when we're through the rest of these numbers.
Well, I'm going to pull up the stats again, too, from the dashboard in a minute. When I pull up pretty pictures, that'll be one of the pretty pictures that we explore will be that stuff, just for you, Anthony. All right. Third from the bottom is Chaos Knights. 21 players, a 42.7% win rate, and a single top 10. Grey Knights at a 43.6, 2 top 4s, 3 top 10s, and a 1.23. And then rounding out the bottom 5 is Blood Angels, 22 players, 44.1% win rate, and 5 top 10s. And that's it. Other GT winners for the weekend were Black Templars, Basic Space Marines, Leagues of Votan, Tau Empire, Tyranids, who took home 2 GT-sized events, Dark Angels, who won an event, and then Thousand Suns also won an event. Thousand Suns are in 11th place for the weekend based on win rate. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing really crazy happening other than Adeptus Mechanicus being all the way at the top and Anthony's incredulity at Chaos Space Marines.
Maybe Vic is right that the Thousand Suns do suck, but I truly can't believe it.
That's just not the case, right? Like, what were you talking about?
It isn't like the biggest weekend either, I think, by
Big
game
Vic
count.
energy.
It's not like
it's a pretty average weekend. Almost 700 players.
Yeah, 680. So it's not terribly small either.
Which,
but
I'm curious real quick. Where did I put this? There it is.
I'm gonna pull up the thing
that makes it a perfectly average weekend. We typically have between 600 and 700 players on any given weekend. LGT last weekend, as I mentioned in the show stats last week, was wild because it was 1,350 players.
That is a big, yeah.
That is the biggest weekend we have ever had.
This weekend will probably be a quieter weekend, just because the largest event is not going to happen for the weekend.
It wasn't going to be that big.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was going to be like 300 players.
250.
Yeah,
It's a decent size, no question. But I don't know. Is there anything cool happening in the UK? No, because you guys are still recovering from the LGT hangover.
I think there's not a UGTC event for a bit. I don't recall any of like the other big tournament organizers running anything. We're kind of like we've got Battle of Britain coming up in a month, which is drawing all the team players in. So,
Makes sense.
Nothing too crazy right now.
Cool.
To answer Jeremy, it's not that AdMech isn't legitimately good or that this is a WTC PSYOP. It's that army is so expensive to collect that it requires you to be a wealthy man in order to run it even remotely. That army is the most expensive by far.
Can play them.
I mean, like,
True.
I don't know. This is definitely like to some extent the AdMech bias is because world leaders like run through them and come out the other side like just covered in blood and robot parts. But like, like it's a lot of what you guys said, where it's like the odds that you run into a good AdMech pilot that actually has enough of the range to be versatile in what the army can do is like really rare. I don't know. Wild. I'm still reeling about Seattle.
All right,
What
we're gonna.
fuck?
I'm gonna share my screen, which is always a danger.
We have to figure out
Or
what to do
funny.
on Nathan's tabs.
And then I keep putting stuff
Spread.
in them for when I do this, and then nobody ever says anything about them. So
Spread.
All right, so this is where we've
Yeah.
been. This is the whole edition. This is where we've come from over here to where we are over. Oh shit!
It just refreshed.
Yeah, I did over here.
That's your Drukhari spike right there.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, it's
hell?
adorable.
It was the one
63%.
weekend before Anthony informed them they were bad and they moved back to their position.
Behave.
So
I diagnosed
This is-
you with terrible.
Yeah.
this is where we started, guys. This spread of faction.
God. Who's the one that's on the very bottom? Not the very bottom. That's Imperial Agents, but one up from them.
Not the very bottom.
This
That's
one?
Imperial Agents.
So this is
That's very
Space
funny.
Marines.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
This is basic Space Marines.
God, the Space Marines are so
Just
dead.
kinda... That right there is faction abandonment right there, because that army can win.
It's true. So this is where we've been. Now we will stop sharing and then present a different tab. This is where we currently are. This
I
is where
full
we are
screen
right now.
my like stream for this, and it's very like I don't like it being that close. That too many faces.
It's too many faces.
It's too
Too many
big because I
faces.
normally have it in a tab and then or like half the browser window, and I full screened it to be able to see the graph better, and that was too much of our faces.
No.
So this
The
is
rise of Imperial Agents is fun to watch because they don't exist and they actually are trending upwards.
Yeah, there they go. Kaboom to a 30%
We're
win
coming,
rate.
guys. Just
Bam.
get.
We're
And they
coming.
have like a
to meet-
40%
coming
win
to
rate
meet
this
Space
weekend, so they're starting to
Marines.
figure it out.
They are.
They're
They're
coming up to
working.
meet regular Space Marines. They're gonna high five Marnie's Calgar on the way past.
Apparently.
They are. They are going to cross streams. But yeah, you can see. I think also where Innis won an event with Gene Stealer Cult, and the Gene Stealer Cult win rate starts to go up.
A combination of like Eric and Innis winning and like the Gene Stealer Cult community putting in like a real earnest effort once they had like something to work with was, it's good.
Yep, that weekend that it says 38% is the weekend that I
Yes.
pulled them in from. So
Nice.
When
And-
Innis
and
produced
yeah,
an
because this is a
instructional
4-week
video on
running
how
average.
to play well. Innis, when you
I'm so
posted
proud
the
of all you guys.
instruction
You guys are
manual,
doing great, sweethearts.
yeah, so like
Paint Celestine, to answer your question, yes, the Malleus detachment did have a higher win rate because there was only one person and they went 3-1-1, which is a
Let's
70% win rate.
otherwise the meta's kind of settled really mostly into the green zone, just to be clear.
Yeah.
So who are we kneecapping, boys?
Based on this, Sisters and Thousand Sons.
And Space
Yep.
Wolves, right? Are Space Wolves hiding
No.
under there?
Space Wolves should be somewhere in there.
Space Wolves are hiding underneath the sisters icon.
A wolf lurking around the corner.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
could
so
probably
it's-
deserve it.
Sisters, Space Wolves, and Thousand Sons are the current menaces, I suppose, of the 4-week rolling average.
Brian, you can't give them hope like that. Everyone just be cool till the law changes.
Everyone just be cool until
That's-
the law changes.
I am.
That's a
still,
scary hope to give orc players.
I'm still absolutely fucking floored that they've not made that change yet. Holy
I hope they're
fucking
just not doing
moly.
it because they refuse to make orcs good again.
It's-
It's the game just can't handle.
Or
players
because someone
flying.
else came up with the idea than they did.
It's so dumb. Like, it was like that last edition. It was totally fine. And now it's just every orc game is just a shit show of like, does the army rule work correctly or is it complete shit? Whee!
Exactly, my favorite. When orcs are bad, half the time at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
If
then,
I'm happy about something, it should probably change. That's a good indicator, actually.
and then I'm going to share one more thing.
Probably
because
Coco has the
Anthony
worst
asked.
idea for orcs. Make them declare which battle round the wall is going to be active
In advance.
Oh man, Brian can do that for sure. That would be an objective upgrade most of the time.
Yeah, but that's before you roll for go first.
That does not matter. You would
You
call it
think?
on 2. It would last the full thing. That would be so much better. If you could declare which one of your turns even, you would never do it that
He
way.
said battle round.
Oh, that's just the same rule but worse.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Stupid.
It should be a
All right.
should be
Chaos
on your
cult
list.
number makes me hurts me so bad.
So we'll minimize it one more time just so people can see kind of where we're starting. So here's Chaos Space Marines at a 47% win rate. 15 event wins. They're only 2 behind Sisters with from an event wins perspective,
I don't.
That's pretty terrifying.
which is absolutely terrifying because they're going to get buffed based on win rate probably.
Surely not. Surely
I don't know.
this is the
No.
amount of credit that I am willing to give Games Workshop in the Josh Roberts era, is that largely for the things that the man has been able to have a hand in and control that weren't like, a year before he started, just coming out when he started, things have been broadly quite good. Army balance in general has felt a lot better in the game, so long as, things are reasonable. Like before he stepped into the role, had a lot of games where even if I was much better than my opponent, I was not going to win that game. And broadly, in the meta right now, even bullshit nonsense Thousand Sons can be toppled by poor piloting. And that was certainly not the case at the start of the edition.
Oh, 100% it wasn't
So-
the case at the start of the edition.
No, it was not. I have played bad Eldar players and picked the remnants of my poor skulls off the floor afterwards. That is not at all the case at the start of the edition.
It was not. We just saw how high the Eldar win rate was at the beginning of the
Yeah.
edition, where it was
Don't
like wildly
with me,
outpaced.
Jeremy. I remember I was there.
Hey, I was there too. There was a reason that I basically didn't play.
So, on that note, I think that there is at least enough common sense in that room now that I can be confident that CSM probably won't get buffed.
Can we get the internal balance changed on them then?
Anthony,
Like hit a
What are we
cursed cultist?
betting?
What do you want to bet?
Oh no.
Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
No.
Innis,
That's
do you
nothing
have a
crazy.
tattoo?
Now,
No, we're not doing that.
he owes us one, remember?
he's due us one.
I'm in the hole for one already.
Yeah, he's due us one. All right. So, listen. What do we want to bet? What's the next event we're both at?
BFS? Pyra?
Pyro,
Can't do
surely,
Pyra.
right?
I mean, we could do a drinking bet at Pyra to be determined later.
Sure,
Based on
we
who
could
wins.
we could work out something like that.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think I would wager that CSM is not going to get net buffed. They may get some point adjustments on things that are not like getting increased, but I don't think they're going to settle into a position where their army is better. Their win rate might go up, but like
So
I don't.
what's the metric? I'm willing to say that in 3 months' time at the end of the next slate, that their win rate is higher than it is now.
I think that's too sure.
That's a low bar, right? Because this win rate is
Okay,
fucking dog
3%,
shit. I have
3%
no
higher.
idea what's happening with
Okay.
these games.
Sure. Where are they at the moment?
They go above 55.
No,
let's
above
say-
Above 55? I'll take that bet.
They're at
I would say
47.
5%.
Above
So
50.
Alright,
above 52
stop.
is a fair bet to make.
Stop.
Stop.
Innis and I are reasonable adults when it comes to the game. So, if you and I, as good players, agree objectively that they have been buffed, I will happily take the L in this bet.
Okay,
And I am
that's fair.
nothing if not fair in my bets.
That's fair. I will take you on that.
Okay.
Okay.
So, if in
Reasonable.
our opinion, we get to the end of, like, right before the next data slate, and we go, yo, this army's better than it was last time, then I'll fucking wear the L.
Yep. And I'll take the opposite. Happy with that.
All right, fair enough. Because, like, I do not understand. I look at CSM and I see, like, 4 viable detachments, a shitload of builds that work, and, like, yeah, it's on the back of, like, a handful of units, but, like, CSM is not Space Marines, which seems to be a common thing that people forget, is there's not actually that many like load bearing data sheets in CSM. Like there's like two or three decent melee units, and that's kind of it. They just don't have a lot of variety in that ballpark, right? So when those units are good, and Chosen have been good basically the whole time, because advance and fallback and do stuff is super powerful, it adds a lot of power to basically any of the things that CSM is doing, and their rule is super powerful. So you need your detachment rules to be not trolling, and a bunch of the CSM detachments are good. So I don't understand what's happening. Because, like, again, I understand what happens, like, you know, when Eldar is, like, you know, lower win rate, winning a lot of events, right?
It's
Army's
an unforgiving
fragile.
army that you can just lose with when you play badly.
Same thing with Sisters. Like, you stand in the open and get shot, you're going to die. CSM is literally like, use the cheap units to do cheap unit stuff and kill the bad guys with your more expensive units. 4-1 at minimum. So, like, I don't know what's
Now
going
asking
wrong.
to see CSM win rates based on region, see who's holding them back.
Yeah, I don't know who's fucking this up, but someone's doing it.
Let's look at UK versus EU versus USA, because that's basically everything.
Yeah, and I have to assume it's not.
Sorry,
like,
Australia and New Zealand.
As much as I like to like throw shade at the UK, like I have to assume it's not the UK holding them back, because like a bunch of like, you know, people doing well with them come out of the UK, so that can't be it. And like the US is carrying the Chaos Cult's win rate, and then like regular Europe has Liam. So what the fuck's going on?
All right.
So Chaos Space Marines in Europe are 48%.
Yep, I got them at 49. I put it up
49,
on
okay.
screen. Yep. And then for the UK, let me untab Europe. Chaos Space Marines are 47.
Okay, so UK is better, or Europe is better than the UK at them.
That sounds right.
And
Germany
then
was
North
Germany's the
America.
one who sees them, right? So
And then North America, Chaos Space Marines are at a 46%. It's not. It's not that different.
It's not significantly. Now let's
very
look at
much
Oceania,
North
because I'm just
America.
curious about this.
All right, now we're gonna hit Oceania.
But like Soli's down there. There's a bunch of good.
Chaos Space Marines are worse. They are the worst.
Oh, that's really bad.
They're 39%.
Okay, that's pretty low.
Also,
That's
this is
baseball
the
win
top.
rate in Oceania.
This is Australia, basically, though, and New Zealand is fucking space.
Jeez, the GSC overrep in Australia.
Oh, yeah, it's just-
7.
Come on.
Fucking broken.
This is way
Well done,
funny enough.
Eric.
I'm gonna go back to the UK. We'll look at the top factions in the UK real quick, just so you know, for funsies.
Hey, look at that. Thousand Suns. Vic.
Sounds chalked.
Thousand Sons, Sisters,
interesting.
and Drukhari. And then Imperial Agents with a 3.42 overrep at the bottom. I love that. That's fun.
Yeah. So again,
And
I just want to
then-
reiterate,
Europe.
like CSM is really good if you just play it. Oh, this is what's
Here
happening.
it goes.
Never mind. I figured it out, guys. We're good. I forgot, like, it's been a minute since I've had to be, like, you know, more involved in the CSM community, because I've been playing it for a while. And I forget that usually the player population of the people that play the CSM book are the fucking fourth Tuesday of the Blood Moon people. So probably what's happening is that instead of them looking at Chosen and being like, dude, I could just advance and then the enemy's dead, they probably playing, like, Havocs and shit. And that's probably what's happening. Never mind. Figured it out.
If we do
Everything's
the
fine.
upper quartile into everybody else, it is Chaos Space Marines at 66% with a bunch of other folks.
I mean,
So they're
almost
not
everyone's
like
60
one of
plus
those,
percent.
But that's
at the
like
top quartile,
everybody.
so.
Yeah, you'd
Let's
have to
go to-
go.
Let's do quartile to quartile. This is better.
I
Chaos
thought
Space
Suns-
Marines are 48.
Exactly the same as they are normally.
Yeah, basically unchanged. If you go to top 10%, probably gets a little weird. By the way, you can all do this at home as well. And for anyone who's watching right now, we're basically going through the dashboard and changing the ELO filters to look at like top 25% of players, top 10% of players, and just seeing how things change. And it turns out the Sisters and Thousand Sons are just really good.
That doesn't sound right. Vic,
Chaos Space Marines do enter the top 10 quite quickly when you do it at the 95th percentile
Hey, look at that.
into each other.
for like all 7
This is-
players.
Yeah, this is all, well, 64. There are 64 players. This data
That's a
set
lot
has,
of event weights for 64 players.
yeah, So I mean, this is 4,000 games at this point. When we're looking at the 95th into the 95th percentile.
It's a
And this
small
is
but still
the
readable.
vast majority of the GT wins for that faction. It's 12 out of the like 16
15?
or 17. 12 out of the 15 are in the 95th percentile.
And it's 17 out of the 17 sister wins.
for sisters, yes.
So what that's telling us is the sisters players are entering the top quartile because they're playing sisters.
That's good.
No.
I love that.
Yeah, like the player population for Chaos Space Marines is also still large. It's 5%.
Yeah,
Pretty average, not the highest.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Once you get into the top is where you start to see stuff. And then if we open up the Chaos Space Marines at this point to kind of look
Chaos
at the
Cult is
Marines.
just going to be off the... Yep. Veteran. Hi, Liam.
Veterans of the Long War for
Except
two
it's two
players. Somebody else is doing it too. 86%. But it's Chaos Cult right here. 64%, 1.55. 36% going 4-0, 2 event wins. And then Renegade Raiders with 58. And that's 8 of the GT wins.
Soulforge War
And then-
Pac-Man Zealots. I'm sorry, guys.
Pack Pound Zealots won an event though with a
Yeah,
22% win rate.
Again, it's not the best detachment for shit sure, but that's a pretty fucking good detachment still.
I like how we
Turns
also
out
just
crit
don't have
fives is
data
pretty
for
good.
Dread Talons or Fellhammer, just like at all. Just they don't exist. There are 8 CSM detachments, right?
Yes, they have them most of any army. They don't.
yeah.
They don't because of the non-codex Marines, but they're basically the ones with the most options.
Well, for anybody who's watching this next week, as you might guys remember, at the end of the last data slate, we did our stats-based tier list for the Leviathan set. So we'll be doing all of this and more, going through all the data and giving you a nice clickbait. You can look at it and share it with all your friends. Give us 5,000 views. Tier list next episode. So we promise Anthony won't be here as well. So you won't have Mr. Negative on board.
Well,
Dude, I'm being
I don't know.
positive
Anthony
this week.
Anthony
Anthony
was
is being
like
very-
amazingly positive the whole first part of this. He immediately went and said, "Man, Josh Roberts is gonna. I have faith in Josh Roberts to do a good job." Immediately at the beginning, like let's
What the fuck?
let's pump the
yeah,
brakes.
I was
Wrongly
gonna say,
persecuted.
Anthony has actually been very positive this episode.
He has
He
been.
is
I'm wondering
very
who's been
confused
replaced
for a
with.
little while about CSM, and then realized that it just happens to be because it's a bunch of crayon eaters in some cases.
Look, they're not necessarily dumb. They just find alternative ways of enjoying the game that I don't necessarily enjoy, and that's fine. You're allowed to not be very good at 40k. That's cool. No biggie.
It'd be
I
very
just
funny
forgot.
if you don't win that GT with Deceptors.
I might. Oh, I'm almost certainly not going to win that GT. I was just talking to someone about this, that I'm going to have like a real problem on my hands if I start 1 and 2, because I will be angry.
You haven't been there in a very long time.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever started 1 and 2.
Oh, maybe in the early
Alright.
Chaos Night days.
Nope.
This is the quadrant thing that we typically talk about with you have the bottom quartile win rate over here and the top quartile win rate over here. This is another place on the dashboard where you can go kind of poke around with how balance is looking.
What is
for various
Drukhari doing
things.
in there?
I don't know what Drukhari is doing. Drukhari is doing stuff.
Where?
Drukhari in the upper quartile only has a 44% win rate and only has a 47% win rate in the bottom quartile.
Dude, Drukhari needs buffs. I'm not like, I know that this seems crazy, but like they help.
We can't give Drukhari buffs because they'll buff Yanari, and I don't like that. I mean, it's not okay.
Hey, just do what they did with agents. Give Drukhari 2-point costs.
It's breaking your brain like 500 points.
Novel concept.
One of my, I realized what. 1 second, I gotta hit another button.
Oh, you're just looking at 1.1,
Yeah,
which
it's just
it doesn't
1.1.
change.
I need to. Well, it does change things a bit.
Yeah,
Suddenly
sisters
Drukhari
still
are
saying
over
experienced
here.
pilot required,
drop
which I
a bunch.
disagree with, but
I mean, when you look at the upper quartile, it's kind of interesting for sisters because it's like most of the games are in the upper quartile, and the bottom quartile has very few.
yeah.
It's a lot.
Is that a sister's problem or is that a...
I don't know.
I think that's
talk
that
about it some other time.
sisters are making everybody not be in the bottom
Oh, man.
quartile.
World,
except
World
for
Eaters
like-
overtuned. Look at that. 56%.
I don't know if that's how I would describe them, but
Get them nerfed.
It's fine.
Honestly,
we
when
get to
when
put
you
Chaos
look at this
Knights
box-
and Imperial Knights in the mid-table menace category, so I like that.
When
That's
you
where
look
they
at
belong,
this,
to be fair.
though, I will honestly say that there's only one faction in the real sad spot. orcs.
Dude,
Who are
just
very
change the
clearly, very clearly in the sad spot with a 38% upper quartile win rate and a 43% bottom quartile win rate.
It's literally like the easiest softball of like all fucking time, and they just not letting it happen.
But yes, there's this. Hey, look, Imperial or Death Watch, perfectly balanced in rip by.
Yeah, in rip indeed. Although
Rip indeed.
Warcom last week or this weekend made like an announcement saying we're going to get Death Watch digital rules. So
Yeah, the Death Watch is coming back. All of you Death Watch fans who were sad to see that Death Watch got iced.
man, the
Apparently-
whiplash
Keep
on
an eye
those
out
players.
for-
I actually
keep an
feel
eye out
bad for them.
To lose with it at WTC in next year.
Mhm. All right. And on that note, if you wanted to follow along, you needed to watch our YouTube. If you just sat here through the podcast as we like described shapes and things, I'm very sorry.
Power to you
The
guys.
audio
Well,
medium.
like, thank you. We really
Thank
love
you for
everything you
listening
guys like.
to
You
this
guys are the
bunch.
heroes of the Imperium. If you just listen through all that.
Yeah,
It
there
turns
you
out that
go.
with digital rules, complaining to GW does work, Red Rum.
Yes,
true.
sometimes.
I mean, they could just make rules, right? They just print that
They
shit.
can.
It's like the Federal Reserve
They-
with money. It's not real. Just fucking print more. It's fine.
All right. Should I do the plugs?
What?
Watching,
Yes.
watching you, Anthony.
Look,
That was
Do the
beautiful.
plugs. Do the plugs,
All right.
NS.
is the new stuff good to go, Jeremy, or am I leaving that off for a week?
Yeah, it's all good to go.
Cool. So, if you're with us an hour into this episode of what has been a lot of stats and a lot of rundown, and Anthony whinging about CSM players not being very good at the game, you're probably enjoying Stat Check, and you would probably
Maybe.
benefit from listening to us even more. If you want to do that, you can check out youtube.com/statcheck. You can see all of our back episodes. You can catch us live every Tuesday at 11 p.m. GMT, various other times across the globe. We are already to be heading into daylight savings, so I'm going to stop telling people specific times because they're just going to be inaccurate in 3 weeks' time. When I go through my daylight savings change and then you guys go through yours a week later to just make sure everything's messy. But if you want to catch us as well as all of the other shows on the network, that's X&1, End of the Matrix, Take All Comers, and Champions of 40k, you can check out youtube.com/statcheck. If you're in a position to and you'd like to support us a little bit more and help out with the network, help us out with costs, doing things like Champions Cup, making sure Jeremy gets paid for doing all the editing, all that good stuff, you can check out either patreon.com/statcheck, or you can now press the new shiny YouTube memberships button, both of which are a direct link to our Discord and help you support us. Don't feel like you need to do both or either. Yeah, probably don't do both. They both just give you Discord access. So, you'll get a little thing in the YouTube memberships on the live streams. Your name will get flagged up in a different color, I think, if you have a YouTube membership. So
It's
if
the
that's
same
something you
color.
value-
They just
It's the
don't
same
have the
color.
same role because Discord integrations.
No,
are
I
broken.
mean in the YouTube chat. I think.
Oh,
You'll get
yeah,
a,
you get a
you'll flag
cool
up as having a
membership
membership.
badge.
So if that's something you value, YouTube memberships is the route to go for that. Yeah, that's excuse me, $5 a month, $15 a month gets you access to the shout your name out in the channel afterward. Shout your name out at the end. You can also check out all of our various sponsors, Red Dragon, where you can get 20% off by being a patron or YouTube member. You can check out Saltar Games on Etsy. You can check out Will and Yutani, and you can check out G15 Games. All of their links are in the description. Red Dragon is your #1 shop for models, terrain, miniatures, board games, all that kind of stuff. Saltar Games and J15 are both good for tokens, the terrain for various formats, WTC for Saltar and GW style for J15 games, and Will and Yutani are the supplier for all of the WTC terrain. So if you want to get exactly that, that's the place to go. Lastly, if you're interested in getting help from either myself, who have we got now? Pumbaa, Tyler, Naj, or Lucas, you can check out patreon.com, or you can check out stat-check.com/coaching, or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com if you'd like to get some support as we lean into what is probably going to be a very busy time with the balanced data slate as we prep up for events like LVO and WCW and everything in between. If you'd like to get some support, drop us a message. We'd love to help you out. I think that's it for the plugs. We're now going to go into show questions, where, as always, there are 2 ways to get your show questions answered that are guaranteed. One is to be a member in the Patreon, or now the YouTube membership, and ask it in the show questions thread. The second is to super chat on the YouTube channel during the live stream, where we will definitely answer your question. And then there is technically a third way if we have time, which is if you ask a really interesting question, we'll answer it anyway. With that said, let's move on.
All right, I'm going to do the super chats first just because I feel like it. Thank you, Seth the Mad Doc, for your super chat, which is with Nathan and Curie both having lost on Warped News. I wanted to say that I lost with style. I won because I told the truth. On Warp News Showdown, who should I have on next to redeem StatCheck's reputation?
What's Warp News Showdown for anybody who doesn't know,
So anyone-
me included?
So anyone who doesn't know, Seth has been doing a little partnership with Joe from Wargames Live, and basically creating a little bit of a variety show, kind of like a panel show for the UK viewers. American viewers, I don't know what the equivalent to that is.
Variety show.
Yeah, we joked. Oh yeah, we compared it to Whose Line Is It Anyways?
There you
But
go.
basically, that's what it is where the lore is made up and the points don't matter. Seth grabs a few of us content creators, does some silly questions, awards points based on how much we're endearing to him, and removes points for how much we insult him or his chosen factions, and we go from there. And it's a really fun, like 20 to 25-minute show. You can check it out on Seth the Mad Dog's channel, or I believe it's being aired during the lunch break on Sundays for Joe's streams.
It is fun to be on, and yeah, I went into the negative points when I was on. That's okay.
It will not be me if I'm not allowed to insult Seth. I'm just not going on the show.
Oh,
You
you
are
can.
allo-
It's just
you
he
are
might pull
allowed
the
to.
24-hour card. You have to be positive about orcs.
No, that's fine. If he wants to burn that when I'm not next to him, that's fine by me.
All right. The next one is from Dom Maidlow. Thank you for the £5, which is what will have to change in the data slate to make CSM Deceptors playable at top tables.
Oh,
Nothing.
fucking Lord.
I don't know. Legionaries go to 50 points.
No, because, like, that's not the good part of Deceptors, right? Like, the good thing about Deceptors is, like, the jail aspect. It's, like, the fact that you can, like, rope someone in with cultists, sticky all the middle objectives, make it harder for them to move, and if they want to engage meaningfully into the middle, they have to start standing on these objectives that are likely towards the open, then you get to shoot them with likely full rerolls. And, like, that shit in Deceptors is legitimately powerful. That is, like, a real game plan that can be successful at top tables. So if any of the CSM shooting gets a buff, like, I don't know, that shit could fucking work. Like, there's a real game plan there hidden amongst the memes. That's why I offered an option for me to play something that was a little bit more memey, because, like, that's legit not bad. Yeah, so that, I don't know, they just need more points. Like, CSM can get out of hand in a fucking hurry if it's too cheap. Like, a lot of the, like, Dark Packs is still just like, this unit does damage now, by the way, even if it's not very good. So if CSM is too cheap, it can get out of hand in a fucking hurry.
And then the last one is from Davlos. Thank you for the 5 Singaporean dollars. Monkey Paw Curls. CSM goes up to 62% just so that Roberts gets to spite Anthony.
I mean, fucking maybe.
All right, now
Please
we'll go
no.
into the now we're going to go into the Patreon questions because that's where the meat of the questions are. The first one is from Georgie Boy 39. I love it. I don't know. It's following the rules and I love it. Please tell us a tale of judging Alpha League Season 7.
So this is some of the deep Curie lore and where I got my start. Yeah, I got dragged into judging the Alpha League on the Tabletop Simulator Discord, which was... It was great for learning the game and learning how to handle table disputes. It was also great for learning just how degenerate 40k players can get when it comes to rules interpretations, because this was in the heyday of 8th edition, when the rules were really made up and didn't matter. Back in the day of Roviathan and the 9 indirect platform Space Marine build with Imperial Fists, all that lovely jazz. It was just more of a, like, I cut my teeth judging events then. That's not through Alpha League, but at the same time that I met Anthony and a few of the others in the community and just started to, branch out and do other things. But every now and then there'd be like 20 channels and I'd just be sitting in the bottom of them and just getting pinged up for rules questions or, hey, how does this work? And back then it was a lot harder to go, what does the rule say? Because it might have been in 6 different books.
Not even might have. It was likely in 6 different books.
It usually was, yeah.
Good odds that it was.
All right.
All right, next question is from Paul. Oh, no, that's not a question. Guys,
Willow has the next question.
Willow has the next question, which is also, folks, stop having discussions in the questions thing. It just confuses your stat. It's not good. Why are we still trying to talk out games after a hard dice down? It just keeps getting more uncomfortable as an event runner and as a player.
I mean, People are gonna resolve the end of their games the way that they feel inclined to, and if a judge isn't present to stop them, and there's not a clear punishment for doing so, people will continue to do the thing that favors them.
Yep. I find that my way of doing it is I will give players, I'm going to call dice down. You are to stop rolling, but you have 5 minutes to figure out your score. If you two cannot agree on a score in those 5 minutes, you will be handed a double loss.
Yep.
And we had to do it once, and since then it's worked.
The next
Someone
question is
called our bluff.
from the next question is from Jeff with a semi follow-up question to Willow's question. Hard dice down, time call after / during the first player's turn 5. What's the best option for scoring? Roll back to end of turn 4. Score as game state is at the time. Give second player primary they are standing on.
If a game is not on a clock and the players do not reach turn 5, it's a draw. Unlucky.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to say, like, after one of the players has been able to take their turn 5, what do? Do you just roll
I
back?
think that's where the
turn
5
4?
minutes comes into play.
Yep.
And if you
makes
if you
sense.
cannot agree on it, grab a judge and really quickly hash it out. And but the minute you call a judge over, you respect what that judge says. You don't argue with them when they say, "What's the score? Okay, what are your cards? You can do this. You can't do this. You can do this."
There you go.
Finish your games. Play on a clock.
Yeah, just use the clock, people. Fuck. Like,
All right, Pius has the next question, which is, how many games are you guys playing on average per week?
Too
I
many.
think
I would say between coaching and like my own like development, somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6.
Yeah, I would say I'm usually about the same. Somewhere in the region of like 3 to 6, depending on the week. And then if I play an event, another 5 on top, another 3 to 5 on top of that usually.
Yeah, and if I'm in like prep mode or we're like post slate or if I'm testing something, then it's
Then we
yeah.
yeah. For me, it's about 3 or 4 a week, but it tends to be very spiky. There'll be times like right now where I just kind of don't play that much. I mean, I played 5 games this weekend, but the next couple weeks I wasn't planning on playing much.
Yeah, I like a lot of this is like enabled by like TTS, and people saying that doesn't count in terms of like a practice tool are fucking morons because like that shit is super important.
Yeah, we were having a background discussion the other day, and I think for quite a few of us, the ratio of TTS to real life games is like sometimes 3 or 4 to 1.
Mine's probably 4 to 1 at this point. TTS to real life. It's just like even for like the locals that I play with, it's like I'm not driving an hour to play you. Just fucking go on your computer.
And also, if you're trying to get them prepped, it's a lot easier to just re-rack real quick.
Yeah, there's that too.
Safe states are overpowered as well.
Right.
Yeah.
The next one. I don't think actually, Pius, that we have an update on X and 1. As soon as we have an update on X and 1, we'll announce it on the YouTube channel.
Cliff works in politics. It's busy right now.
Yep.
Funny that.
Goran has the next question, which is, hey guys, I'm wondering if you can give me some tips or personal experience how to master an army that has the label of difficult to play. I have just gone back to Tau after playing it in 9th for a period, and it's very different now. A lot to keep track of and hoops to jump through. Thanks.
I would start with just like making sure that you get the small shit down. You want to have like your army mechanics down into muscle memory, and that's going to come down to reps for the most part. Like you want to be like, all right, if I'm shooting with A, I know it needs a guide. So every time I go to get line of sight with unit A, I need to have a guide set up, and you need that stuff to kind of be built into your muscle memory so that you're not having to think about that on top of thinking about the like, very complicated game states that a game of 40K can often involve. And honestly, things like needing to like multi-resource manage or stuff like that does make an army worse because it will be harder to execute on, and you just kind of have to be like willing to accept that going in.
All right. The next question is from Henry the Wizard. Going second often feels like such an advantage in Pariah Nexus. Should changes be made to the format to either knock that down a peg or bring first turn up to the same level? Or, Devil's Advocate, is it the player's fault for not having a dynamic list / game plan that works regardless of first turn?
This is a two-way street. I was like actively like, leaned forward, high-pitched yelling into the mic at Ennis about this before we started, when we were talking about Hypercrypt. It's wild to me that like so often right now people are writing lists that are just like, yeah, bro, I'm going to go second. It's going to be all right. Like nuts, like so greedy. It's insane. it's so easy to make armies right now with all the jail lists and like all the things that you can do, and like even a bunch of these armies, like even Hypercrypt, to make it so that if you go first, you're like barely playing Warhammer that game. And people are just like opting out to be like, no, dude, it's so much more tactical and smart if I plan to go second rather than if I plan to go first. And it fucking drives me nuts because it's such an easy like opt-in that you can just do that instead. Like the shit in your book have the scout keyword. Holy fuck, it does, because almost every book does. Use some of that shit, bro. Like it's
there
We've
are
had
definitely
this
some
discussion
armies
over
and
the
builds
last-
that can't opt into
But,
that, right?
yeah.
And that's problematic as well.
but Pariah is fucked up and badly designed, and there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done to it. So that's like a separate issue. But there
Yeah,
is
it's
for a
like-
bunch of armies some opt-in that you could just be like, hey,
Yeah.
fucking put some shit in there to do that.
I think the way I would describe it is like you can opt into it, but it's kind of stupid how much you have to opt into it right now, right?
you just
like
have
you have
to.
got to have a really concrete like go first plan in this pack, and if your list or your build or your opponent's plan, like you can't make your opponent have an opt-in plan for going first. If they've just been like, yeah, man, I'm just gonna go second, and then they do, and like you might have had this opt-in plan, but you can't stop your opponent from
Yeah.
doing the dumb thing, right?
Yep.
So there are definitely degrees of that, and that's what makes it unbalanced more than anything else, is that it is stronger to go second, and you can't make your opponent build a list that's happy going first. So your opponent will often end up playing to go first or playing to go second, and then you'll be upset about it because one of you is always going to be upset in that situation. And
Right.
that means results in a decent amount of playing the game without playing, right? Which is the bullshit part.
Yeah.
Yep. And we talked about this over the last few weeks about like the difference between the level of play. Like Innis, I think you and myself, and I think Anthony as well, all have higher go first than go second win rates.
I mean, I definitely have a higher.
Yeah, right now by like a little bit. Like Pariah Nexus is definitely like curtailed that back a little bit back to more normal, but
Yeah,
I
like I
definitely
was just
have-
looking at my Pariah stats, and this is just in-person games. I have an 89% go first win rate and an 81% go second win rate.
I mean, I definitely have a higher go first win rate, but I'm playing World Eaters with a plan for when I go first, right?
yeah, okay, no, it's not even close. 92.5% go first, 78.1% go second.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just like you can do it, people. You just need to be able to fucking do it. You can't write a list that only goes second and then bitch when you
Yeah.
go first. Much the same as the opposite, for what it's worth. Like, a
Oh,
lot
100%.
of people do this with
You
World
need to have a
Eaters.
plan both ways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
If I
50-50
turn
that you'll do
down
either.
to just tournament, it's 96.2 go first, 81.8 go second.
Right.
Jesus.
All right. The next question is from Typhus, which is, how do you feel knowing that Indirect is alive and doing well?
I hate that. That shit sucks. I think that keyword should just get pulled. They should just bloop, just take that one out.
It's
Just get rid of that shit.
I stand by that Indirect should not benefit from any keywords.
No, Indirect just shouldn't. You could have stopped that sentence like several words sooner.
I know, but like,
the only
Why?
indirect that's allowed to exist is the Hunter Slayer missile on the repulsor because it's fun.
Yeah. Doesn't Votan have like a old
Yeah,
man missile or some shit on
you
the
can
land
replace
force, too?
replace the ignore cover with a missile, and I've never
Yeah.
seen anyone do
it's
it.
Yeah,
it's a one-shot piece of shit missile. So
It's a no-los missile, bro. That shit's OP.
You get one turn of an exorcist.
Yeah. Of a one-shot exorcist.
yeah, I was gonna
That,
say.
that Exorcist just rolls out from behind cover anyways now, doesn't it? Just rolls out and has fun.
Typhuses do.
So does Dan. He was
Typhus
playing
is around your
Typhus's
home
list this
objective.
weekend,
What are
and
you on about?
I think
Look,
Dan
man.
finished with Exorcist on his opponent's home 3 times this weekend.
Yeah, that's some disrespectful
no
shit
beep.
right there.
Nobody expects the Spanish Exorcists.
I think if your gun has the indirect keyword, it shouldn't be able to fire directly.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh,
You can see me? Suck shit. No.
actually, no, just bring back minimum ranges. Like every indirect gun, minimum range 24 inches.
Minimum range
Bring back
30.
guessing ranges. Bring back
No,
guessing
stop
ranges
it.
for indirect
No,
weapons.
no,
No.
bad.
Let's
No.
move on.
All
Let's
right.
move on.
Next question.
Isaac T has 4 questions. The first of which
All
is,
right.
what is the solution for a faction that completely dunks on people at a lower skill level but is perfectly average at top table?
I don't know. What is Games Workshop planning to do with Drukhari? Got him.
Oh!
Generally, you try to flatten the power, right? You pull up like you nerf the obvious power, you buff the middle power, and you make it so that it's a little bit more like the stuff that's just showing up in every list is a little bit weaker. The stuff that's a bit less flexible shows up in and you try to like balance the power level out. The same as you do with most books. It's not that complicated.
Second question is, I have a minor interest in doing 40K podcast stuff. Any advice for people wanting to start down a 40K content creator journey? Find a niche that somebody's not really in already, and then try to do it well. Get the equipment that lets you do a decent job of audio and also a decent job of video if you want to take it as a live show with a video component. But honestly, at this point, there is so much 40K content that you need to find a niche and you need to produce well in that niche. So you need to figure out what you want to do, and then you just need to do it well. You need to see if it's like
say smart stuff and advertise it well. Like the advertising part, like 40K community is shockingly bad at it, and I think that I'm happy to include ourselves.
We're horrible at it.
Like there are, I'm going to use the Gene Circle example recently. People keep saying the NSGSC list. It's not my list. It's 100% not my list. But I'm much better at marketing than Eric Latherus is. So it's my list now. And that drives people nuts. And it's funny to me, but it's not like, but that's the thing, right?
It's also not the first time Innis has done this.
No, absolutely not. You can't just say it loudest. You can't just say it first. You have to say it loudest. And 40K is real good for the person who's good at saying it loudest.
No.
The third question from Isaac is, am I part of the Cool Boys Club now that I have won a GT?
Yeah, you'll get your jacket in the mail.
And the fourth question is, you guys already covered this one. Are Kaysons still broken or just mid, like Vic had been saying?
Fucking gah. That's the single take that makes me the angriest, because we're going to get fucking T-Sun apologist round 2 from the community, and we're going to end up with WTC, where every team has to take them or you're throwing. It's going to be awesome. I love it.
The nerfs will be subtle but significant, I think, this time.
The next question is from Davlos, which is, now that everyone has a 3-inch Deepstrike, how does Innis feel about Infiltrators?
They're only good if you have another unit in your backfield. If they're your sole plan for holding your home objective, they're not good at that. You need another thing back there, which means you need to play a list that isn't planning on just abandoning its home objective. You need to have a second thing. I played them in Iron Storm because I was sitting tanks back there. I won't play them in Blood Angels because everything is running straight forward. If they go back there, they're dead. They're not holding it anyway. Whatever.
I disagree with this vehemently.
That's fine. You're allowed to.
I still hold my position that they're the best thing in the game for just being like, hey, in front of me, bitch, and nothing else does what they do.
The amount of screening you get out of 5 Infiltrators is wild.
I would take them in literally every army I play. I would cut anything in World Leaders to have them. Like, they're fucking nuts for pressure
Would you cut the
armies.
MOE for them?
Yeah, in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think about it. Like, they are nuts good for pressure armies. The ability to just be like, hey, no, is so fucking powerful.
The second question is Stormraven back?
Probably not.
Mercy's
Okay.
pretty fucked up, but the Stormraven now is just like too many steps, right? It's big fucking...
I really,
skewed.
really noticed the lack of ignore cover from the last time I played it was with the Talentmaster, and I really, really felt it. But I'm not running a Hammer Strike for that. It's not happening.
A Storm Speeder question mark.
The Thunderstrike is okay. It has enough
The
shots.
Thunderstrike is great at dealing with higher toughness things that Iron Storm might struggle into.
Whatever one of them just hits on 2s because reasons is also
The
pretty good.
Thunderstrike. Yeah, that one. It just hits on 2s with its 3d6 plus 1 damage guns. I like that
But
one.
not with the twin-linked Icarus, for some reason.
Well, yeah, that guy's like death. You can barely shoot it.
Yeah, guy's having a day.
The next question is from Sam, which is, you have a teams event soon after the MFM update. What are your keys for ensuring your team is prepared and ready, knowing that some people's lists, factions, and archetypes are likely to change?
Has everyone read the missions in the pack and like knows what their job is likely to be? All right, cool. Let's figure it out from there. But like, make sure you got the baseline stuff of you read the missions in the pack and know what you're designing for. That's the stuff you can control right now. We'll lean into that, and then also be aware that your shit's not going to change that much, almost always. If you just play the same thing you were playing, but you update it for the metagame, you're probably going to be fine. You probably don't need to full reroll your faction.
You also need to accept the fact that if you want to be a reroll boy, you need to like bite down on the mouthpiece and be ready to grind, because you have to. It's now the onus is on you to not throw with your new thing.
And also, the changes might not be that substantial, so make sure that you're still practicing what you currently have.
Yep.
Just play.
The next question from Gran was already answered. Anthony already talked at length about CSM win rates. Go earlier in the podcast to get the answer to your question. Chris Polly has the next question, which is: do you think the Vespid Stingwing's updated uppy downy ability is better, worse, or about the same?
It's 100% better.
Yeah, what they said. I definitely read it, and they're probably
What's
right.
the current? What's the new one?
So the old Vespid Stingwings was at the end of your turn, you could pick them up. The new rule is at the end of your opponent's turn, you can pick them up.
It's not. It was at the end of your movement phase, you can pick them up. But they go into reserve. Yeah. So it was like bad snake rot. Generally, it was slower. The only thing you had with them is you could, like, theoretically, you could score primary with them and then lift them up, which was kind of a thing. But
that's pretty good.
But it's slow, right? So you don't get them back the next turn anyway. So
you could have just left them on your opponent's turn, I guess.
Yeah. There's generally, I think it's better. They're easier to use now, is I think the big thing.
And that's good enough.
Yeah. The next question is from Ben Jurek, which is: pumpkin spice season has taken over. If you could pumpkin spice one thing, what would it be? I would remove pumpkin spice from existence. I would invert the pumpkin spice. Get that shit out.
Don't you dare do that.
Pumpkin spice is pretty good. I would pumpkin spice up the Drukhari army.
Nathan's wife objects to that.
Yeah. In the distance.
Wow. In the distance.
Wind your neck in, all right?
I would pumpkin spice pumpkin pie.
I would pumpkin spice.
Why? Why would you do that? Fuck off.
Can I do it like magically? Like I wave a wand and like every time someone consumes this thing, it's pumpkin spiced now?
Sure. You can do that.
Anytime Nathan eats from his favorite restaurant for the rest of time.
No. Every time Nathan eats Chicago pizza.
No. Just his favorite restaurant.
I think you guys way overrate how much I eat.
No, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So anytime his like favorite restaurant changes, surprise, bitch. This one, pumpkin spice too now.
Okay, two options for making Nathan's life miserable. Every time you microwave water for your tea, it's pumpkin spiced. You have to use your kettle. Or alternatively, we just pumpkin spice up your tongue.
Oh no!
You live in a
Can you
perpetual state
imagine
of
just
pumpkin spice.
always having pumpkin spice? You can just never escape it.
Yeah.
Like a dry spice feeling all the time.
I'm not going to front. My initial answer was going to be Innis's toothpaste, but then you were so vehemently against it.
I don't like it. I don't.
Yeah, it's fine. Let people enjoy it.
It's fine as, yes, you all can enjoy it, but I can also not like it.
Yeah. Which is why you will now always taste pumpkin spice.
What?
Yeah. Nathan is so much more reasonable than me when other people don't like things or like things that I don't like. I'm like, get it out.
I'm very used to it, coming from as a person from Chicago, where everybody hates on Chicago pizza all the time. I'm just like, whatever.
It's more fun to hate on it. I've never actually had it, so
that's good.
Also, I just love a bunch of stuff that people hate, like haggis. Haggis is great.
Yo, I had fried haggis. That shit was good.
Haggis is actually pretty good.
Durian is great too.
Durian is great. Just don't prepare it yourself.
True.
I
made durian key lime pie once. Was delicious. Like a durian style key lime pie. Wrong order of that. All right. Gustavo has the next question. I'm not gonna I don't think we're gonna answer any Aquilon questions. We're just gonna.
We certainly are gonna talk about.
No, we should take a few minutes here and talk about Aquilons because these are wild. Okay, so anyone who is not paying attention, Games Workshop decided that the one thing that Guard was missing was 3-inch Deepstrike, hence the name of the title of the episode, and so they decided to give it to a regiment unit that you can recycle.
And they can do it on rapid ingress. So if you were just gonna charge something in the Guard army, maybe your like master execution someone was gonna like roll a 6 at something. No, dude, sorry, there's an Aquilon squad on the way. Get fucked. They rapid
10-man Aquilon squad
that has you on the way in.
That is 90 wounds and has a flamer that can shoot when you ingress.
90 points. It's not 90 wounds. I really hope I didn't miss that with characteristic.
I said 10
It would be
model
way
90.
funnier if it was 90 wounds.
9 wounds per model.
9 wounds guardsmen.
I mean, in Kill Team, they probably are 90 wounds for all we know.
I don't want to have to play against this. I don't want to live in a world where I'm doing like Gene Stealer cult things with my squad, and then I get rapid ingress on, move blocked, and lose my unit doing locusts.
Hey,
Like, no, I don't want this. I don't want it at all.
Or the
So,
five shitter units, the 5 shitter models you left on your home objective suddenly getting their objective stolen.
and then you kill them, and they do it again.
in fairness, if you let your objective get stolen by a 10, like your home objective get stolen by a 10-man guard unit, you deserve that.
Well,
Like-
no, not like on it, but like you have to screen out the 3-inch from you just losing it.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, they're gonna mess up a jackal squad, right?
Yeah, sure, but so does everyone.
Yeah, that's true. I hate it. I hate that 3-inch deep strike is
Actually,
a
they probably
common
don't do a
thing.
ton
It
of
should not be a
damage.
Tata sheet ability. You cut whatever the fuck you want. You fit one squad in. Probably 2 is overkill, but you fit one in. It's
I think you
like
fit
the
one and
best
it's your reinforcements target.
thing. Exactly.
They should make them battle line.
I hate you.
They should. The next question's from Paul,
6
which
in every
is
army.
people said that no line of sight and planes were dead after the last data slate, but I keep getting shot by Exorcist, the Silent King, Tiger Sharks, and Void Ribbons. Explain that one, atheists.
It's not a question.
I don't think
Paul.
we
It's
ever
just
said it
the
was
statement of
dead.
truth.
Here's the thing.
Also, some of these things are not the same as other things.
I was just gonna
Like-
say that. The Silent King is
That's not true. The Silent King has an indirect gun. I
He has
discovered
a
this the hard way one day.
Sure.
the Silent King has a shitty indirect gun.
It kills 10 cultists after
To be
like
fair,
3
the
turns.
gun-
No,
the-
it
the
doesn't.
indirect
It
gun-
doesn't.
I said 3 turns.
Oh, okay. I was like, it doesn't even get fucking close. I've been playing that data sheet a whole bunch lately.
I had the Silent King shoot at the same exalted Sork for 4 turns in a row with indirect, and he never killed it.
Yeah, like,
I mean, the indirect of the Tesseract Vault is, on the other hand, fucking terrifying.
yeah, I'm sure that shit's
Yeah,
scary.
Tesseract vaults aren't real and can't hurt me.
They hurt me quite a lot. So
Look, chat. I don't. This is the only dishonest use of my clout, and that's every time that airplanes and indirect get nerfed even a little. I'm like, bro, it's dead. I go on as many platforms as I can, and I'm like, bro, that shit's dead. And I hope that no one tries it. And if you do it enough times, that kind of works until one of your teammates, idiot Typhus, tries it and fucks you. Or airplane fucking pilot cadet up here fucking can't believe it's not the RAF over here.
So what you're saying is that I
fucking
should-
me.
I should bring 2 Storm Ravens and 3 Whirlwinds to my event this weekend.
Yeah, you should. I don't
Yeah.
look. No promises on how it goes, but go for it.
It'll make people. It makes someone very sad
You
when
have
it
to,
happens.
you have to bring
everybody
the
you
three,
go first against.
to bring 3 hecatons with the indirect missile, obviously.
There you go. Boom,
No.
bro.
Those
That's
are
like
one
one
shot.
exorcist worth of shooting.
Jeremy, you don't need the cover if you're good at positioning. Ignore cover if you're good at positioning.
Yeah, that's like all those people that told me that beam was totally fine because you could just play around it, and then I would watch them lose 2/3 of their army to one activation. I'd be like, "What happened, bro?"
You thought you
Yeah,
would play around.
or when
it.
they change the beam to hit friendly units, they're like, yeah, it's fine. They'll never hit. They'll never shoot it because they'll always hit themselves. And then you just realize that every single Votan player would just leave perfect gaps in their army when they're
Dude, or
deploying.
they'll just kill that one Hearthkin. Fuck that guy.
I will also say, like, there are always going to be exceptions to the rule that something's not good. Like, Void Raven bombers are good because they, like, can do a thing where they drop out of the sky and fire, like, a bajillion shots at you, and then, yeah,
Yeah, and then like
whatever.
Orc players, Brian's the exception. World Eaters players, Anthony's the exception. There's always an exception to the things aren't good. So
Mhm.
Yeah, sometimes
And
stuff is okay.
honestly, Exorcists just come out of into the open, right? And advancing. And
Dude,
shooting
exorcists are good battle tanks, indirect keyword agnostic. That shit is bullshit.
Yeah, like wait a
they're
second.
just
that's just a-
vindicators without blast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2 less shots, but
One less
yeah,
One less shot.
they're D6+2.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, I played the Bringers game. I played the other day wrong, but we're gonna ignore that for now.
They were still pretty good with D6+1, weren't they?
Yes, I thought it was D6+1.
No, the best part. Well, they're also like 2-4 strength less.
Irrelevant. It's sisters. What are you
Yeah,
the
it's-
wound like a
It's
blast?
just- it's-
The best by far is definitely the exploding on 5s because every now and then someone Silent King disappears.
It's really, really not fun into orcs though. Karina's a messed up strategy.
Oh,
I really miss flying headbutt. That's what I miss.
Dude, I'm gonna detonator someone's work vehicle this weekend just to be like, do it.
Careen into me, baby.
I want you to do it. I want you to do it.
Do
Careen
it.
closer.
Do it.
Watching
Abaddon's
a-
just sat there waiting with his fucking knife and fork.
Yeah.
One time judging a stream game and discovering that a player had perfectly screened out the careen from actually being able to go into them, and
What
the
a
orc player
Chad.
could only careen into themselves.
I like to not play around it at all. That's my game
It just,
plan with Korean.
if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. It's not good. You definitely should do what that guy did instead. I'm being bad, but also
Yeah,
like,
but it shouldn't
1 in
happen,
6.
right?
Barely a thing.
yeah, never
Nicholas
happens.
James has the best comment, though, is that this is the good old Desos aren't good at strength 4 psyop, except unlike most psyops, this is good for humanity.
I mean, Desos are bad, thankfully.
Well,
For
yeah, they're
everybody's benefit,
200 points
they
for
are.
5?
Desos should be 700 points for 2 and only takeable.
I don't think
minutes
I've
of
seen
10.
a Deso in a list this edition.
I don't care.
Sorry.
That's not true.
Let me rephrase that.
Hold
Let me rephrase that. I haven't seen a Deso in a list since the Marine Codex came out.
Can we rewind that a little bit?
We're
I just want to
trying
replay that
5
a couple
or a little
more
bit in an
times.
impulsor. But we tried 5 in an impulsor a little bit because it was a pretty fun Mercy's weakness target, but
Not as good as 2 eliminator units.
no, it was not. So we did that instead.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, what else we got?
That's it. That's the last question.
That's it.
That's
That's
it, we
all.
won.
Unless someone else has a quick
Yeah,
comment.
we won. We won the questions war.
Woo!
We did it.
We got
Mission
there.
accomplished.
Yeah, that's us.
Nathan, go and read the plugsy things.
All right.
While Nathan's
I'm
open
gonna-
there for plugsy things, everyone check
I
out the
already
show
have it
next
open.
week. Oh,
I already have
lame.
I already have it open. All right.
Yeah,
so
check out the show
I
next
think-
week. We're going back with a tier list.
Yeah, we're gonna
Everyone's
do tier
favorite, except
lists.
Anthony.
A tier list and no Anthony. So that's a pretty appealing episode, people. Just fucking write that shit down.
The negativity will be minimal. Everybody's gonna be having a good time.
Yeah. It's funny because Anthony, being the most optimistic member of this show
Do
episode,
you remember
is like the
Who
funniest
remembers
thing.
when we fucking started and I was the beacon of optimism? It's bullshit.
We ruined you by introducing you to teams. That was the problem.
No, it wasn't even teams. It was just they made a bunch of bonehead fucking booty brain
Alright.
decisions.
All right, now that Anthony has successfully defended himself from being misidentified as the negative Nancy of the podcast, we can talk about the cult of the high five callouts that I'm about to do. If for some reason you decide that you
That's why I
want
have
to give
to
us
go in and
15,
manually make sure it's not another fucking.
if you want to
yeah,
give us
anyway.
$15 a month in either the YouTube or the Patreon, because both of them will get you the same privileges, you get added to the callouts at the end of the episode where we thank you effusively for the for you giving us that much money each month. We really do appreciate it. It supports a lot of work that we do. You also get a bunch of in-person benefits. You get high fives if you see me at an event, either judging or playing. You can get one of our little challenge coin things that I've got as well. Or if you just see me and you're a Patreon and you want one, you can probably also get one, to be totally honest. I will give the coins to just about anybody who says hello. But otherwise, I'm going to go read these because the other thing that you get to do is you get to decide how you get called out during this section of the show as part of the rewards that you're given. So thank you. Christopher has officially left Scotland for England Irvine. Thank you, Willow Weeks. Thank you, Dan F. Thank you, Luke, Dan F. McCarthy. Thank you, David. In the face of the greater good that is the Emperor's plan, none of our lives hold any significance, Clark. Thank you. What is most likely to make Innis? This is my favorite part of the show. Wilson, shake his head. Thank you, James H. Thank you, Colton, Dan F. Miller. Thank you, Fungus. Thank you, John. Here's your book quote, Nathan. No, said Dorn. V8 gang, vroom vroom. Thank you, Cam F. Dan. Morton, hog emoji. Thank you, Archon. Currently 5 out of 8. Mythic on the new WoW raid. Will I get cutting edge before the slate drops? Who even knows anymore? Hall. Thank you, Josiah Gattle. Thank you, in brackets, placeholder for data slate. Thank you, Isaac Mangus. Made the best possible decision with the information available to him at the time. Tarada, you are correct. Mangus did make the best decision.
Mangus did nothing wrong.
Mangus did nothing wrong. Magnus, on the other hand, did many things wrong. Thank you, Nathan. Yes, you, Nathan, the one reading the spreadsheet. Thanks. Thank you, Thomas. Help me, please. I can't get my havocs to work in my Velhammer Siege host for Coition. Thank you. I'm taking a secret mission. Can you point out all of your battle line for me? Thank you. Go to donate to ensure the one Cabal point list is run. You need to link the link in order for me to make sure that that happens. Go post it somewhere so that it can make sure that it gets supported. I see a bunch of you on the spreadsheet. You cannot add things right now. Thank you. I have a fever, and the only prescription is super heavy walkers having true line of sight at all times. And then the funniest thing is that there are a bunch of tabs at the bottom that says, "Is anybody reading this?" Yes. Why do you ask? Just curious. So you come here often, more often now that I've met you, sweet cheeks. Sir, this is a Wendy's. What happens at Wendy's stays at Wendy's. You guys fucking ridiculous.
Thank you all for your support.
Thank you for your thank you all for your support and ridiculousness. There's a bunch of people just randomly typing in here. If you keep doing that, I'm just gonna delete it, or Innes will delete it. More likely, Innes will delete it.
And in response to Saltire Games, yes, Nathan always needs more high fives.
Yeah, if you make more, I will hand out even more high fives to more people. Saltire Games.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us for episode 109 of Stat Check. I've been Innes. We've been joined by Jeremy, Anthony, and Nathan. We hope you all had a great time. We hope you'll all be back to join us next week for our tier list episode, which we promise will make Anthony cry. Have a wonderful time. If you're at a tournament this weekend, very best of luck, unless you're playing against one of us, in which case we hope you lose.
Bye-bye.